Hey guys, my name is Matt Johnson, and today I want to talk to you about this little fella, the Zhiyun Crane 2 electronic camera gimbal. Look at this thing, it's so cool. Now, this review is not going to be your typical review where I just read off a spec sheet and take it out of the box and show you the first 5 minutes of footage that I filmed with the drone, running around in my backyard. No, that's not how I want to review this gimbal, because I want to review this gimbal in the context of filming weddings. So, if you are a wedding filmmaker or a wedding videographer, I hope this review will be helpful to you. If you are not, well, stick around because it'll probably still be entertaining. With all that said, I want to review this gimbal in two contexts. The first context is how easy is this gimbal to set up? Can I put my camera on it quickly, get it balanced, and begin shooting as quickly as possible? The second context that I'll be reviewing the Crane in is that as I review the Crane 2, I will be comparing it to the Glidecam HD4000 and the Ronin-M, because I assume that there are those of you out there that are already using one of these two gimbals already, or you are considering purchasing one of these three gimbals, the Glidecam, the Ronin, or the Crane 2. All right, I gotta put these things down now, they're heavy. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that have already watched my previous review of the Ronin-M and how I compared it to the Glidecam. If you didn't see it though, here was my conclusion about the Ronin-M. In my case, shooting weddings, needing to move from location to location very quickly, getting a ton of shots, not wanting to mess with electronic calibration or batteries, I'm gonna stick with the analog Glidecam that really only requires basic weights and muscles. My beard was so short back then. I'm an old man now. Anyways, I've been continuing to shoot with the Glidecam HD4000 for about the past year and a half, ever since I made that Ronin-M review, and I've loved it. My camera has been on this thing the majority of the time. It has been trusty, reliable, and with that, my opinion about electronic gimbals hasn't changed a ton. I'll let my brother explain to you my opinion about electronic gimbals versus the Glidecam.
You don't need puny electronic gimbal. You need Glidecam. Glidecam make your biceps strong like ox. You bench the world with Glidecam. Crane is weak.
He really talks like that, JK. But that really was my opinion of electronic gimbals. Why would I switch to an electronic gimbal whenever I'm getting awesome shots with my Glidecam? That said though, I did say this at the end of my Ronin-M review. If DJI or another company make a Ronin-M or another electronic gimbal that is smaller, lighter, quicker to set up, and has an actual stand, then I will definitely heavily consider that over the Glidecam. Clearly, shorter bearded Matt was hoping that something would come out that would fix the shortcomings of the Ronin-M. Enter the Crane 2. And the Crane 2 piqued my interest for two reasons. The first reason is because of its large weight capacity. This thing can hold cameras up to 7 pounds. So I can use it with my A7S II and a battery grip and heavy lens, and it handles it no sweat. The other reason that I was interested in the Crane 2 is because it uses a Manfrotto quick release plate. Yes, the quick release plate that I use on all of my cameras, my tripods, my slider, my Glidecam. This is huge for filming weddings because you do not have a lot of time whenever you're filming. So when the Crane 2 was announced, I pre-ordered it on the same day, and it came about a week before I had 2 weddings 2 weeks in a row. The perfect opportunity to test this gimbal. And to be clear, I spent $750 of my own money on this, plus about another $100 on accessories. I'm not being sponsored by Zhiyun Tech to make this video. I bought this because I was interested in it and wanted to try it out for myself. That said though, Zhiyun Tech did reach out to me about a month ago and said, hey, we like your videos. We'd love to send you a Crane 2. And I said, awesome, I already have one. But then I had an idea and I reached out to my contact at Zhiyun and I said, hey, I've already been using my Crane 2 extensively for months now. I don't really need a second Crane 2, but would you be willing to send me a second one anyways? And they said, sure, why not? Here, take the second one, take some accessories, have a good time. And I said, really? Because I am now excited to tell you that I am in possession of this, a brand new, unopened, unboxed, untouched by me, except for the outside here, Crane 2. And I'm gonna be giving it away to one of you. Yes. So I will have more details about the giveaway at the end of this video. For now, we need to actually review this thing. So let's start talking about the Crane 2. Let's start by talking about the weight capacity of this gimbal. Zhiyun advertises it as being able to hold up to 7 pounds. And in the marketing materials, they show it holding a Sony FS5, a Canon 1DX Mark II, bigger cameras, and it's supposed to be able to hold them with ease. And so I was excited because I use a Sony A7S II with a battery grip. I was really pumped to be able to hold my camera on this gimbal. But what Zhiyun does not tell you is that if you are using a taller camera, such as the 1DX Mark II or the Sony A7S II with a battery grip, you are not going to be able to balance this camera on this gimbal. It is too tall, and this bar here does not go down low enough for it to be able to achieve perfect balance. I was able to achieve roll balance, but whenever it came to achieving tilt balance, where the camera tilts up and down, back and forth, I was not able to achieve balance, so the camera would want to slam down rather hard, and it was kind of terrifying. Now you would think with the motors being as strong as they are, would be able to compensate for this lack of balance, and they do, until they don't. I discovered this whenever I was driving down a dirt road in Colorado filming B-roll of the forest for a wedding. I went over a big bump in the car and the motors had to compensate for the extra stress, but they got overloaded and shut off, which meant that my camera was suddenly flinging itself around and slamming into the bottom of the gimbal, and it was kind of terrifying. So because I was in the mountains of Colorado and I wanted to continue using my Crane 2, I set out to do what I feel like most filmmakers would do in this situation. I went to Home Depot and I bought some washers and some screws. And these washers and screws actually fit perfectly here into the bottom of the Crane 2's plate here. You can see that there are some mounting points for them. So I started screwing these screws and washers into the bottom of this plate here to increase the weight on the bottom of the camera and thus make it balanced. It worked, and I used this for 2 weddings and everything was fine. It was a little janky, don't get me wrong, but the physics were solid, I think. You've probably noticed that there are no screws or washers on the bottom of my Crane 2 anymore, and it does appear to be properly balanced. And the reason for that is that someone at Zhiyun realized that there are people that have taller cameras that were not balancing properly, and so they needed to release a fix for that. In January, they announced the gravity adjustment plate, which is actually just this little piece of metal here. For comparison, here is the old piece of metal. You can see that it is about 1 inch longer. That is really the only difference between these 2 different plates. But this 1 inch was critical because by lowering the camera a little bit more, I was able to achieve proper balance. And it makes shooting with the Crane 2 so much easier because I'm not terrified about the motors being overloaded and shutting off. Even with a heavier lens like the Sigma 24mm 1.4, my Crane is properly balanced and I can still flip it upside down and use it in inverted mode. Ah, I'm hitting my chandelier. Isn't that cool though? It's so great. This gravity adjustment plate costs $29 and I will have a link to it down in the description as well. And to put this all in perspective, my Glidecam HD4000 can easily balance even with the A7S II battery grip and Sigma 24mm lens, which is one of the reasons that I've been using it for so long. Alternatively, the Ronin-M is not going to be able to support this setup because the camera with the battery grip and a Manfrotto quick release plate that I would need to put on it is going to be too tall for the stock Ronin to be able to handle. I have read that you can purchase extended mounted bars for the Ronin-M that will enable you to lower the center of gravity even more, but I have not tried those out. And the Ronin-M has other drawbacks you can hear about in my Ronin-M review video. Now that I've talked about the weight capacity of the Crane 2, we need to talk about the setup time. Namely, how quickly can I set up the Crane 2 on a wedding day and have it ready to shoot? Well, the Crane 2 comes with this very nice semi-hard case here, and the benefit of this case is that you can keep the Crane nearly completely assembled. All that I need to do to make sure the Crane is ready on the wedding day is screw in the little bottom tripod feet, and because I'm using the extended gravity plate here, I need to adjust this screw and slide this over just slightly whenever I store it. So if I'm at the start of a wedding day and I'm getting out all my gear and getting it all ready, I can have the Crane 2 ready to go in about 2 minutes, and that is awesome. To put that in perspective, with the Glidecam, I always keep mine fully assembled. Just throw it in the car like this, take it out, and it's ready to go. The only setup that I really have to do with the Glidecam is to put the camera on top of it, slide it up, lock it, and it's ready to go. So this is very, very quick. In comparison, the Ronin-M requires a lot of setup assembly to make sure that it's working properly. And this is one of my biggest complaints about the Ronin-M, because whenever you are filming on a wedding day that has multiple locations, I would often find myself needing to tear down the Ronin every single time that I moved to a new location. That got to be a major pain. And what's funny is that I started receiving comments from people saying, you don't need to tear down the Ronin. No, I just put mine in the car seat and I buckle it in with the seatbelt. Seriously, that is a thing. A lot of people do this. I never thought about strapping my Ronin into the car like it was a child. Good technique though. In comparison to the Ronin though, the Crane, once I get it set up to this level where I have it balanced and ready to go, it's small enough that I don't have to worry about disassembling it just to transport it to another location. I can gently lay it on top of some things in the back of my car or in the floorboard whenever I'm moving from location to location at a wedding, and I don't have to worry about the Crane being damaged. So in that context, the Crane is just as good as the Glidecam. Another huge perk for the setup time of the Crane 2 is that it uses the Manfrotto 501 PL base plate, which, as I said, I use on all of my cameras and accessories. So whenever I need to swap from a monopod or tripod or even handheld to the Crane 2, I can do it in about 20 seconds with this quick release plate. That is wonderful whenever you're shooting a wedding and you do not have a lot of time to go get shots. Unlike the Crane 2, whenever I was using the Ronin-M, I kept finding myself having to take off the Manfrotto base plate and put on the proprietary DJI base plate. And that can be a major pain whenever you're filming a wedding and you're like, hold on, don't kiss, just wait. You cannot do that on a wedding day. You do not have the luxury of that sort of time. Another thing to consider if we're talking about setup time is what if you want to swap lenses on your camera? Normally, most of the time, I'm shooting with this Sigma 24mm lens on both the Crane 2 and my Glidecam because I love the wide sweeping shots that I can get with it. But what if I want to use this smaller 50mm lens? This lens is much lighter than the 24mm, so I'm gonna have to make major adjustments to all of the knobs here to make sure that it is balanced properly on the Crane 2. I also have to make sure that I find a flat surface that I can put it onto so that I can balance it properly. With the Glidecam, on the other hand, because all that I have to do to adjust the balance is adjust this screw here and this back screw here, I can change my lens and still be walking, holding it, and adjusting the balance as I go. This can save a lot of time, and in this category, the Glidecam wins again. So if you're a person that likes to swap lenses or uses longer zooming lens, like say a 24 to 70mm that extends out, the Glidecam may work better for you because you can adjust it much quicker than you can the Crane 2. Lastly, in regards to swapping lenses, the Ronin-M is going to behave very comparably to the Crane 2 in that you need to adjust the balance every single time that you switch lenses. The con of the Ronin-M, though, over the Crane 2 is that the Ronin-M requires you to have this huge stinking stand here to make sure that you can balance it properly. Without the stand, good luck balancing your gimbal. With the Crane 2, look at this. It has feet! I know I already mentioned this, but this is still very exciting to me because this is one of the biggest things that I wanted from a gimbal. I wanted legs built into it so I can put it down whenever I want and not have to carry around a big honkin' stand like I have to do with the Ronin. This is wonderful. Moving on, let's talk about usability. Namely, how good is the Crane 2 whenever it comes to actually filming weddings? Well, to sum it up, it's really good. It takes a lot of the strengths of the Glidecam and adds to them, which is really awesome. I'll tell you a story. I was shooting establishing shots at a wedding a few weeks ago, and I was on a very limited time frame. So I opted to use my Glidecam because I still feel a little bit more comfortable with it than the Crane 2. But towards the end of shooting the establishing shots, I had this one shot of the reception venue that I really wanted to get. There was this awesome oak tree with its branches hanging down overhead, and I had this tilt down shot that I wanted to get from the tree leaves tilting down, revealing the reception venue. It was gonna look so awesome. But I ran into a difficulty with my Glidecam. One of the most difficult shots to get with the Glidecam is a tilting shot, because the way that you normally use a Glidecam is you have one hand on this handle here, and then you are using your fingers to control rotation of the Glidecam. But if you're doing a tilting shot, you need to have your hands on the Glidecam post while it's tilting. And this can lead to the Glidecam wanting to rotate while you're tilting it, and so the shot doesn't look perfectly smooth coming down. I did the shot multiple times with the Glidecam of the trees and the venue, but I wasn't super in love with it. So then I had an idea. I went out to my car, got out my Crane 2, mounted my camera onto it, set the Crane 2 to follow mode, where wherever you tilt it, it will also tilt the camera, went back and did the tree shot, and it looked awesome. I nailed it on the first try with the Crane 2. Likewise, I had that wedding in Colorado a few months ago, the one where I had to go to Home Depot and buy screws and washers to properly balance the crane. And I took the couple out on a hike the day after their wedding, and I opted to bring the Crane 2 with me. And I had this one shot that I wanted to get where the couple was walking down this little forested path, the sun was shining down through the trees, and I thought it would look so cool to have a super low to the ground shot of the couple walking. So I took the crane, I flipped it over so it was inverted, and then I pressed follow mode again, and pretend that this is lower than it was down near the ground, but you won't be able to see it if I do that. And I walked after the couple with it slightly angled up, and it looked gorgeous. Now I could have done the shot with the Glidecam if I had wanted to. I could have shortened down the center post a little bit, flipped it over upside down, and used it inverted in this way. But with, I keep hitting my chandelier, dang it. The way that the Glidecam works is I would have had to have my hand on this handle, which would have put me very awkwardly low to the ground, hunched over as I'm filming. And that would have been really difficult. Totally doable still, but far more difficult than the Crane 2. In these two scenarios, the Crane performs far better than the Glidecam, and I would say it's about on par with the shots that you're able to get with the Ronin. But what about less crazy shots? What if you don't want to do any crazy tilting or panning movements, and you just want to pick up the Crane and do nice, smooth walking shots? Well, I'm pleased to say that the Crane handles that very well too. When I was at home visiting my family a few weeks ago, I brought along the Crane 2 and showed it to my brother. And within a minute of him picking up the Crane 2, he was getting awesomely smooth, stabilized shots. And he has never used a gimbal before. The Crane is really easy to just pick up and use. But that said, the Crane 2 does struggle in one area where the Glidecam does not. Whenever you're filming with the Glidecam, you're holding onto this handle, and this handle isolates a lot of your body movement. It isolates horizontal body movement and isolates vertical body movement because the handle twists like this. So a lot of the normal bouncing that occurs whenever you're walking normally, even though it's nearly imperceptible, whenever you are using the Crane 2, that bouncing is translated because it has no vertical movement dampener like the Glidecam does. To compensate for this bouncing movement, you need to make sure that whenever you're walking with a Crane 2, you are walking as slowly as possible to minimize any vertical movement in your video. We also need to talk about long-term usability of the Crane 2. Whenever you're shooting a wedding for 8, 10, 12 hours at a time or even longer, you need a gimbal that's not going to completely break your biceps and your back. Thankfully, between the Crane 2, the Ronin-M, and the Glidecam, the Crane 2 is the lightest without a camera, weighing in at only 3 pounds, 7 ounces. To put that in perspective, the Glidecam without a camera weighs 5 pounds, 7 ounces, and the Ronin-M weighs 6 pounds, 15 ounces. Yes, nearly 7 pounds for this entire setup, and I haven't even added a camera yet. How heavy of a camera can the Ronin-M carry? Up to 8 pounds. How heavy of a camera can the Crane 2 carry? Up to 7 pounds. That is very impressive that something this size can almost carry as much as this. Now let's add a camera onto those weights. My A7S II with the camera, battery grip, lens adapter, and 24mm lens weighs in at 4 pounds. So with my Crane 2 and the camera, this entire setup is 7.7 pounds. With the Glidecam, it is 9.7 pounds. And with the Ronin-M and that camera, that entire setup is 10 pounds, 15 ounces, nearly 11 pounds. I've been shooting with the Glidecam HD4000 since 2011, and I'm kind of surprised at this point that I don't look like that bodybuilder dude from Lady in the Water. You remember that movie, M. Night Shyamalan, Fairy Tale, came out a long time ago? There's a dude that works out only one side of his body, so like one bicep is huge and the other bicep is small. That's kind of how I feel at this point because I always carry my Glidecam with my left hand, which means that this bicep is definitely far more developed than this bicep. Just being totally honest here. Now let's compare the handling of the Glidecam to the Crane 2. With the Crane 2, I can hold it just like I do with the Glidecam with my left hand, or I can hold it with 2 hands, kind of like a lightsaber, which, hey, that's just awesome. You know, you gotta love that. Or I can even switch over and use my shriveled up right bicep with the Crane 2. That is so awesome because unlike with the Glidecam where I'm really only good using it with my left arm, once I get tired with my left arm, I'm really out of luck. I just have to keep on shooting and get more and more tired. With the Crane 2, I can shoot with my left arm. When it gets tired, I can switch to the right. The Crane 2 is very versatile and can enable you to shoot for a significantly longer period of time than you can with a Glidecam. Now let's say that you're coming from the Ronin-M or another two-handed electronic gimbal and you prefer to hold your gimbal with 2 hands. Well, I have good news for you because Zhiyun Tech has released this handle adapter kit so you can put this on your Crane 2 and turn it into a dual-handled gimbal. This is one way that you can mount the handles to the Crane 2 and it essentially turns it into an upright mode Ronin-M, but it has an added benefit of still having its little tripod feet down here, so if you need to put it down, you can just set it down normally without worrying about it falling over, unlike the Ronin-M. Do you prefer your gimbal to be hanging low though, like the Ronin-M? Well, ta-da, look at this. It's a little baby Ronin-M. How cool is that? Plus, if my arms get tired, I can just grab it here, flip it over to upright mode, and put it down anywhere on the tripod feet. I love that. All that said though, I don't really find myself using the dual handles of the Crane 2 very often. They remind me a little bit too much of the Ronin-M, which gave me great struggles whenever I was needing to like hold it out or up. But if you're somebody that has less upper body strength, the dual handles may be a great choice for you. We also need to talk about the visibility of your camera monitor whenever you're using the Crane 2. If you remember from my Ronin-M review, one of my bigger complaints was that I had to use an external monitor mounted to the top of the Ronin-M because the camera is held down so low that whenever you're filming, filming, you gotta kind of like squint and the battery's blocking your view, so it's really hard to see your camera screen, which is why you need a monitor up top. With my Glidecam, on the other hand, whenever I'm holding it in its natural shooting position, you can see how close my face is to the viewfinder here. So I can immediately tell if everything is in focus and exactly what my camera is seeing. And if I need to change focus, I can just grab onto the pole here, adjust my focus a little bit, and then go back and continue shooting. Likewise, with the Crane 2, it is very similar to the Glidecam in the respect that I can hold it up here and see the screen very clearly, and if I need to, I can hold it like this, adjust my focus a little bit, and then keep on shooting. Another thing that I was very pleased to discover is that the Crane 2 does not suffer from a major issue that a lot of other pistol grip gimbals in this style suffer from. Namely, most gimbals like this have a design issue where this bar that runs along the back blocks your visibility of the screen. And from this angle, it kind of looks like it does, right? But because I actually shoot a little bit off to the side and with it angled a little bit, I can still see the screen perfectly fine. Now this is only really in my case because I use the battery grip on the A7S II, which raises it up high enough to be visible, but this is still a major win. And if you're like me and you want to have your camera raised up like this, you will not have any issues being able to see your screen. This has been enough of an issue that in the past year or so, I've seen gimbals come out that actually lower this bar here down to about here. And that's a style of what a lot of gimbals are moving towards, but I find that with my setup, I do not have to worry about the bar. Oh, and if I want to change my A7S II batteries, I don't have to take this whole camera off the gimbal. I can just undo this little notch here, flip this out, pull my batteries and swap them, put them back in. Easy. Speaking of batteries, the Crane 2 has phenomenal battery life. Zhiyun rates it at 18 hours, and I'm inclined to believe them. That said, I still did buy an extra set of batteries just because I'm paranoid like that. I will link to them down in the description if you want to check those out. We also need to discuss the smartphone app that Zhiyun makes called ZY Play that you need to download if you want to adjust some of the settings on your Crane 2. Yes, there is a little screen back here with a menu and options, but these options do not cover all of the settings for the Crane 2. For that, you're going to need the app. The reason that I recommend downloading the app is that the Crane 2's default settings for panning are very sensitive, and I highly recommend changing them. What I mean by panning is that whenever I rotate the handle of the gimbal here, you can see how quickly it wants to pan the camera left-right. It is very sensitive. Too sensitive, in my opinion, to really be able to get dramatic, sweeping, slow panning shots. So you need to change these settings in the app. What I do is I open up the ZY Play app, select connect to my device, and let it connect to the Crane 2. Then I tap the gear in the top right, and then in the far right column that says pan, I turn the follow rate to 30, the control rate to 20, the smooth degrees to 200, and the dead zone to 15. And I find that these settings make the Crane's panning much smoother. Lastly, we need to talk about autofocus and manual focus. I've been shooting with my Glidecam HD4000 since way back in the day whenever I had my Canon 7D. Yes, I'm an old man. This was far before the days of dual pixel autofocus or any sort of video autofocus that was even remotely good for that matter. So if you wanted to focus your lenses, you had to do it manually and you had to like it. Thankfully, I got pretty good at it. But then the Ronin-M came out, and this thing is nearly impossible to use with manual focus lenses, because if you want to adjust your focus, you have to lift it way up here, probably hold it with one hand, and then like adjust the focus a bit, and that can be a major pain. So I ended up going out and buying a Sony 16 to 35 millimeter autofocus lens, which got me some use whenever I used the Ronin. And then once I switched back to using the Glidecam, I went back to manual focus lenses and promptly forgot about autofocus, and it's been going great. All that said, with the Crane 2, Zhiyun integrated this really nifty little follow focus knob directly into the stabilizer. And that sounds really awesome on paper, right? The issue is that currently this follow focus knob only works with Canon cameras. Yes, the cameras that already have amazing dual pixel autofocus, so you're not gonna wanna really manually focus anyways, have the ability to use this for manual focus. I think it's hilarious that the only camera system that actually supports this is also the one with the users that are least likely to use it. Now, Zhiyun have come out with something for Sony and Panasonic shooters. It's a remote mechanical follow focus that mounts to the crane right about here and then will mechanically interface with your lens to adjust the focus. But the issue for me is that if I had to add that to the crane, I have to add weight, and more importantly, that's gonna affect how quickly I can take off the camera and put it back onto the gimbal. And I guarantee you that if I have to slide it on, then line up the follow focus gears and make sure that's all calibrated properly, that's gonna be significantly longer. So for me, that's not that appealing on a wedding day, and I'm gonna stick with manual focus lenses. That said though, if Sony puts the same awesome autofocus capabilities that are in the A9 and the A7 III into the A7S III, and I buy that, I might need to purchase some autofocus lenses because that sounds really appealing. So in conclusion, I really like the Crane 2. And I feel like there are two camps of people that are considering buying this gimbal. You're in the first camp if you've never bought a gimbal before, but you want to start adding stabilized moving shots to your videos. So you're considering purchasing the Crane 2 or a Glidecam. We're not going to talk about the Ronin-M because I feel like the Crane 2 and Glidecam are far better choices whenever it comes to filming a wedding. You can watch my Ronin-M review video if you want to see why. Pros of the Crane 2 include that it is much easier to get started shooting with than the Glidecam. With little to no experience, you can start getting beautiful cinematic imagery in your wedding films or any other video for that matter. The con of the Crane 2 and really all electronic gimbals is that there is something between you and the camera. Namely, there is a computer system in here that's doing a lot of calculations to smooth out all of your shots. With the Glidecam, on the other hand, it is just you, your camera, and basic physics keeping it stable. And in my opinion, the Glidecam still has a bit more of an organic feel to it, which can be very appealing in filmmaking. Keep in mind that the Glidecam is going to be more difficult to learn. Much like a Tinder lover, you're going to have to learn how to touch it, caress it, and hold it in a way that can get you the shots that you want. Yeah, Glidecam's a little more difficult. Don't worry, Camp 1, I will answer the question in just a second if you should buy the Crane 2 or the Glidecam. But for now, I want to address Camp 2. And you're in the second camp of people if you already own a Glidecam. If you know how to use it, if you're pretty happy with it, and you're really kind of wondering about electronic gimbals because everybody won't stop talking about them and the hype is real. So what should you do? Should you melt down your Glidecam and purchase a Crane 2? That's a tougher decision. This isn't like having a tripod and buying a slider. No, these two tools are very similar. This is the old guard, the tried and true, the analog. It's a great gimbal. But this is the future, the digital, where everything is going. For me though, the Glidecam still wins in organic feel. I love the way my videos look whenever I shoot with it. But like riding a bike, the Glidecam is going to take significantly longer for you to learn how to use than the Crane 2, which out of the box is going to give you 80 to 90% of the same quality of shots that you're going to get with the Glidecam. So which one do you buy? Camp 1, if you are starting out in wedding filmmaking and you have never owned a gimbal before, in that case, I would buy the Crane 2. You are going to get phenomenal shots with it right out of the box. And then after you've shot some weddings with it and mastered how to use it, if you're still not fully happy with the shots that you're getting from it and they still feel a little mechanical to you, then in that case, I would consider purchasing a Glidecam. The good news is that if you buy the Glidecam after buying the Crane 2, it should be a significantly easier learning curve than just buying the Glidecam first. Now, Camp 2, what if you already own a Glidecam and you get really great shots with it? Well, if you're expecting to buy the Crane 2 and have radically better shots that are mind-blowing, well, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. That said though, I would still buy the Crane 2 as another tool to supplement your work. There are some things that it's better at, such as tilting shots and low to the ground shots. Also, you will not be nearly as tired at the end of the day whenever you shoot with a Crane 2 over a Glidecam. In an ideal world, you would own a Glidecam and an electronic gimbal, which would enable you to get an even greater variety of quality shots in your videos. For that reason, I'm keeping my Glidecam and using the Crane 2 more as a supplement whenever I have shots that are more difficult to get with the Glidecam. So yes, it is time to buy an electronic gimbal, and the Crane 2 is a very nice option. But to be clear, it is not the only option out there. There are a ton of quality gimbals for you to be able to choose from. And if you're not in my specific situation where I needed a much heavier payload, I've heard wonderful things about the Zhiyun Crane V2, their smaller model that holds lighter cameras that retails for about $470, which, hey, that's definitely cheaper than the $750 this thing cost. Or you can look at the brand Moza. They have some really awesome gimbals that are cheaper in price too. I believe their new Moza Aircross, which has pretty decent reviews, is retailing for $420 right now. That's not bad at all. If you want to watch reviews from Moza gimbals, I highly recommend checking out my friend Dan Watson's YouTube channel. He has a ton of awesome gimbal reviews. I'll link to him up in the corner and down in the description if you want to check his stuff out. He's reviewed basically all electronic gimbals at this point. Every single time I go to his channel, he has a new one that he's tried. It's really awesome. The DJI Ronin-S is also coming out later this year, and that thing is gonna sell like hotcakes because everything that DJI makes sells like that. It's just crazy. I'm betting you that it's probably gonna be a pretty good gimbal though. So if you have time, you might wanna wait for that. But if you want a solid electronic gimbal that's out right now, that isn't too expensive, that has a heavier weight carrying payload, that has a Manfrotto quick release plate standard, and most importantly, has a gosh darn stand so you can put it down wherever you are without worrying, then in that case, I would highly recommend the Zhiyun Crane 2. I think it's a fantastic investment. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you and gave you some great insight into whether you should purchase the Zhiyun Crane 2. Speaking of the Crane 2, I have one to give away, and I'm going to be giving away this crane to a person who's subscribing to my email newsletter. Don't worry, I'm not going to spam you. I don't have time to spam you, but if you want to win this thing, you do need to click the link down in the description of this video and enter in your email address into the giveaway entry form. If you're already an email subscriber, please go down there and enter your email again. Don't worry, I will not email you twice or something ridiculous like that, but I do need to have your email so you can be entered into the giveaway. Also, this won't help you win, but please leave me a comment below letting me know what ridiculous thing you would film with the Crane 2. Lastly, this contest is open to people that are 18 or older that live inside the continental United States. I'm sorry, I wish this could be worldwide, but this is literally just me going to the post office and sending this to you. I'm not a big deal. I hope to, in the future, do more giveaways and hopefully make them worldwide, but unfortunately, that's how it has to be for now. The giveaway is going to be ending on midnight May 1st, and I'm going to be notifying the person that wins by using the email address they used to sign up for the giveaway. So please make sure that your email address is accurate. I would then love to be able to send this to you, and you can use it just in time for the beginning of the summer wedding season, and I'm excited to see what stuff you're going to be able to film with this. As always, if you have any questions or comments about this video, or about the giveaway actually, please feel free to leave one below or get in touch with me through my website, WhoisMatt.com. It is also a Crane 2 payload sized help to me if you would consider liking this video and subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I also have links down in the description of this video. So many links. If you click the little read more button down there, all the links will appear to you. I have links to my kit page where you can not only check out all of the gear that I use, but you can now actually also sign up for one-on-one consulting with me. Before you could only do it through my website, now you can book through my website and my kit page. Pretty cool. I also have links down in the description to my Facebook and my Instagram pages if you want to check those out, or to my wedding film production company, Film Strong Productions. All of that is linked down in the description. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.
I'll be back with Glidecam.
Just ad-lib Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You want to get big? Use Glidecam. Glidecam feel like this weight. Weight is huge. Make your arms big, like Glidecam. It feels the same. So strong, I get so strong. I'll be big in no time. Glidecam make your arms strong. You get huge on Glidecam. Oh, I'm tired.